FlossTube, and welcome to Fairy Tales and French Knots. It's it's almost time for a StitchCon episode. What do I pack? Where is my stuff? I don't know. I'm Erin, and I'm losing my mind. And this is my channel where I talk about cross stitch for long enough to make everyone wonder what I'm up to, but short enough that you can watch on your lunch break. Probably said that differently than I normally do, but tonight I don't care. I've been getting ready for StitchCon. Obviously, I'm going to weekend A, and I've gotten my hair cut. I've mowed the yard because it's going to rain for the entire time that I'm gone. So I'll come home to a lovely jungle. That'll be nice. And I have done some stitching since my last video, and I'll start by showing you some of that. Unfortunately, I seem to have completely abandoned my WIPGO board. These were some pieces that I got out earlier in WIPGO, and they've just been stuck in my brain. So they needed to be worked on, and heck, maybe they'll get finished, and the other ones will be neglected in a bin as they've been for years. They don't care. So what I've been working on. First, I was working on the Forget-Me-Not sampler right here. And I've gotten quite a bit done, actually. I've got all of this blue border down here done. Finished this little plant here and this one here as well. Some of this ribbon and these two birds and, part of these two. There is a border that goes all the way around. It's currently under my prime guard. And I kind of work on that as I get to it, or when I have a little bit of a floss left over that matches. So there is the Forget-Me-Not sampler coming along. And I've also been working on Atlantis Octopus from Owl Forest. And this was something I picked up at StitchCon either last year or the year before. So I kind of feel like maybe I can get it to a point where I could finish it at StitchCon this year and ring the bell. Maybe. We'll see. So here's that one. I think I'm done over here, except for there might be another one of these leaves right there. I've gotten down to the bottom. I have to fill in the house. This is a little pagoda thing that goes up to finish the octopus, but this is the far side and this is the top, so it's just filling in this piece right here. So yeah, Atlantis Octopus. So that's what I've been working on a lot these past couple weeks. Oh, I've also been working on Dee's 20 Stitches Stitch for Pride. I'm still stuck in March because I took it in my work bag and I work on it during my lunch break. I get half hour, 45 minutes for lunch. Nobody really polices our lunch breaks, which is nice. But that also means that if I don't keep tabs on myself, I could keep stitching and, basically waste my entire afternoon and get no work done. So, yeah, I've limited myself to one length of floss per lunch break. It takes a really long time to stitch that way. So right now, let me get this out. Like I said, this is March, and I don't remember, I don't have all the paperwork, I just have the pattern here. I know that the person is a Chinese individual who was born female, may have identified as male, took on some male traits to advocate for women's rights and things like that. So also wrote some really lovely poetry. And that's where I got the idea for how I want to finish these, which is as a scrapbook. And I'd like to, put something about the character that inspired each piece so that I don't have to explain it every time, and it will have some meaning in the future as well. So here's my, do I have a, does that help a little? Yeah, there we go. So there's the Chinese dragon. And really all I have left to do is the sun over here. And this is done in a Vicky Clayton hand-dyed silk from a detritus bag, so it doesn't have a name. And the fabric was something I had in my stash. I think it was called Thunderstorm or Stormy Night or something like that. So that is coming along. I could actually take that to StitchCon and definitely finish that if I wanted. So that's been my progress for the past month, working on those 3 pretty much. Yeah. So, sorry, it's just my brain is trying to figure out like what to pack for StitchCon that I'll actually work on, if I could possibly finish any of it, what I just want to show off to people, because who doesn't want to show off stuff, you know, whether it's finished or started or just a, you know, twinkle in the eye of my stash box. I don't know. But anyway, I did realize I have 2 finishes that I never showed. They're not finishes that anything I finished recently, but they're fully framed by me, and I don't think I ever showed them here, so I'm going to. And the first one is from Cricut Collection. It's from the Cricut's Companion Spring. And I know I shared it on my Instagram page, but this is my adaptation of part of the design. So here's what I have. I stitched this on an overdyed fabric, and I used overdyed flosses, which is not what was called for. This was all charted in DMC, and the background had little white dots on it. I think there's a name for it, like when it was on fabric, and I can't remember what it was called. But anyway, I didn't like it. It looked way too 80s. Same with the word spring and some of the borders and things. So I just left them off. And I had this little frame in my stash. And she fits right up into it. Like, that's the bottom of the stitching right there. And there's about 1 stitch between her and the top. And it goes right over to the sides on both sides. But I like the way it looks. And yeah, that just makes me really happy. I love the purple in her dress especially. Just makes me happy. So that was one finish from, I think it was last year, honestly. And then the other thing was a product of me wandering around Joann's. And I found in their jewelry department some lovely doodads for embellishing things, which we all do, right? I stitched this piece by, I think it was by Black Swan Designs, and it was a kit from the early 2000s at the latest. And it was called Far Beyond the Garden Gate. And it's got a verse on it that says, "Far beyond the garden gate, time stands still as fairies play." So I had finished this, and I put it in this frame that I got at a thrift store. So there it is. If you ever find this kit, I no longer have the pattern or the kit for that matter, but if you ever find the kit, that sun is a giant yellow clay thing. And not even like a Jabco button, but kind of I thought it was kind of wonky looking. I did not love it. So I swapped that out with a jewelry charm, but that was not what I found at Joann's. So anyway, this frame has some damage in this bottom corner. While I was at Joann's, I found that. And I just think she's lovely. She fits right in with the purple goes with the flowers and the little fairies here on the sundial. I'm not sure why there's spiders. If I were a fairy, I might be frightened of a very large spider, but apparently these ones are not. So that's all finished. I mean, it was finished, but now the frame, which had kind of a chunk out of this corner, wasn't terribly noticeable, but I tried to cover it with actually silver nail polish. Didn't work great. Worked okay, but not great. This is better. So that's all all embellished. And then I have a little bit of stash to show. I've been trying to curtail the stash a bit, knowing that StitchCon was coming. I've also been working on my table gifts and my smalls exchange, which I will take pictures of and share in a later video, but I don't want to give them away before I give them away. Wait, yeah, that made sense in my head. So there's that. But one piece I've been working on off and on, I got really into it when I first bought it, and then I put it away, and every so often it comes back out when my when I take one thing off my Q-snaps, and I think I'll work on this for a bit. It is Poet's Heart by Cozy Egg Designs, and pardon my zipper. Here it is. Here's what I've got so far. It is stitched on a piece of Ancient Mead by Dixie Sampler. And this leads me to where my stash enhancement happened. Dixie Sampler is a fabric dyer who does small batch, limited edition kinds of fabrics. And that's what this is. Like I said, it's called Ancient Mead. It's a really lovely, like, black and brown color. And I think it looks great with that black silk floss, which is from Silks For You. So I started following Dixie Sampler on Facebook, and about a month ago she released 2 new fabrics, one called Tallow and one called Maritime. So this is Maritime, which is like a gray blue, and Tallow is kind of a neutral yellow brown kind of shade. And I ordered those. If you saw any prices on those labels, I did not pay those prices for them because she was having a sale, and there were some mix-ups in my order. And so I ordered those. And then, like a week after that sale ended, she posted in her Facebook group that she was sorry to say, but she was wrapping up her fabric dyeing business. And she had leftovers. And she was going to list them all at a discount. There are several more fabrics here now. I don't know where they came from. I purchased mostly high count and small pieces. So I didn't spend a whole lot of money, but they're things that I knew I'd never be able to get again. So this one is a 36 count porcelain, which is basically a cream. This one is a 40 count butternut, which isn't that far off of Ancient Mead, really. Oh yeah, I guess it is. It's much more orangey than Ancient Mead. But when you look at it by itself, it does not look orange. I have some thoughts on what I could do with this one. And then I got into the 46 counts. And I ended up with Lycana. I think I said that right. Lycana. Toasted coconut. Yum. Which is, it's very similar to Lycana, but not exactly the same. Lycana is a little more yellow. And then this one, which I really wanted because I loved the name, is Wormwood. It's such a lovely speckly brown. I just love them. And I haven't stitched on 46 count since the days of the sampler that I did, that I inherited from Laura. But I think it's time to try again because I really like small pieces. So I need to get back to it. And I've got a magnifier. It's actually right now serving as lighting for this video because it's my daylight. And yeah, I want to get back to that. So yeah, I'm going to weekend A of StitchCon, and I'm leaving Wednesday morning. I'm driving. So it's about a 7, 8, 9-ish hour drive for me. I like the drive, so don't tell me it sounds terrible, because it really doesn't sound terrible to me. I'll download a book from my public library on Libby, and it'll be fine. Yeah, but I still have so much to do because I have to figure out what stuff to bring for the brag table and what stuff to bring to work on and what stuff that I probably won't work on but I want to bring anyway, and my table gifts and my smalls exchange, and maybe I should pack some clothes, and how much clean underwear do I have anyway, and snacks for the car, and food for meals if I don't feel like buying meals while I'm there. And I'm losing my mind. So on that note, this is going to be a very short video. I told you I'm going to leave you with 2 pictures that pretty much summarize the past week or so in my life. First of all, on Saturday we had a neighborhood yard sale. And if you are not familiar with neighborhood yard sales, you're a lucky, lucky person. My mother was a great yard sailor, mostly out of necessity, I learned as I got older. But we would do most of our school shopping in the summer at yard sales, and we would also have a yard sale. And when you're small, you think it's so exciting to, gather your things and put price tags on them and take them out to the side of the road or the driveway or wherever that you're doing this, put them on the table, and then just rake in the money. It never happens that way. And as the adult now who has to organize all that and figure out what to price things at and how long to wait before you just say, take it, because I don't want to put it back in my house, and all of that, it's like massive trigger for me, I think. So we also didn't have a lot of the kinds of things that people want, which would be, in my experience, in my opinion, baby stuff and kids stuff. Or little tchotchkes. If you have little decorative bits, people love to pick over your little decorative bits and go, oh, I need this one, or oh, that would look lovely on my counter. I just don't have those things. I have needlework, but I'm not selling that for a quarter. Thank you very much. So anyway, we had yard sale. And as I was walking around the neighborhood just to be social and see what everyone else had and, see what people were buying too, I saw this. Right? I don't know how you end up with 2 elk's head mounts and why you decide to sell them, unless you came from a very large hunting lodge and bought a small house in a town neighborhood. I wouldn't say city. I don't live in a city. But still. Okay, so 2 taxidermied large heads. I just figured that, they put them out there to attract attention, which they did. And, whatever, they ended up in a garage or the trash. I didn't know. So tonight, keep in mind the yard sale happened on Saturday. Today's Monday. I came home, driving up the street, and I saw this. Truly, what are these people thinking? It turns out that the woman who bought one of the taxidermied heads is kind of a local eccentric, and the seller of the heads told her that it belonged inside, and he offered to help her put it up in her living room, which, but okay. And she either refused or, didn't take him up on that offer the way he intended it or at the time. I don't know. But the next morning, there it was, in her flower bed, as if it was trying to climb up from Hades or something. I don't know. But I hope you all don't have any nightmares. And if I don't see you at StitchCon, I'll be back here in a week or two with a recap. Bye.